What's going on, Laker fans? What is going on, Laker fans? Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Might be a little winded. That was probably a little bit too fast right now. We're in the off season. So in the off season, I'm not up to speed right now with my endurance, with my fit. You know what I mean? Hope you guys are doing good. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Got a couple things that I want to get into, so it's a good day to do one of these episodes. And let's get right into it. So first off, I want to talk a little bit about Austin Reaves. He continues to shine, but I thought this article was really good about Austin Reaves and the San Antonio Spurs not making an offer. A potential big that the Lakers could go after that was just released with another NBA team. And then I got a kind of a funny story to tell. Mike Bibby was doing a podcast. For those who remember Shaq and Kobe days, Mike Bibby, Sacramento Kings, I think it was back in 2002. Lakers and Kings went to 7 games, and Mike Bibby thought that the Kings were a better team, so I want to spend a little time on that. So those are 3 topics I'm going to get into. Please subscribe to the channel if you don't mind. Thank you for being a part of it, and let's get right into it. So there was an article that came out about the San Antonio Spurs. I want to go back to free agency for a quick second. You guys remember all the questions around the Lakers coming into free agency. I don't think the questions were, will the Lakers be able to bring back Rui Hachimura? You thought, yeah, it's probably a good chance. What's going to happen to D'Angelo Russell? Okay, that might be a little bit interesting of a story. Austin Reaves, I don't think anyone ever felt he was not going to come back to the Lakers. I think everybody thought Austin Reaves was going to come back to the Los Angeles Lakers. The question was going to be, at what price was Austin Reaves going to come back or come to the Lakers? And I remember at one point there was a point that there were a couple teams that could potentially put that poison pill for the Lakers. Poison pill is they're going to put an offer for a player that's restricted, and now it's going to force that team to spend a lot more money than maybe they wanted to or they anticipated. Lakers and Rob Pelinka in the front office were basically telling every front office around the league, you make an offer on Austin Reaves, we're going to match it. You're wasting your time if you do it. I remember the news came out that the Lakers officially agreed to bring back Austin Reaves for 4 years and was it $56 million, maybe 57, something like that. Maybe it's 54. Why am I forgetting the number? Whatever it was around that amount. The first thing that I thought of when they brought him back was $54 million. I'm like, that's it? The Lakers are bringing back Austin Reaves, 4 years, $54 million? That seems like an incredibly great value of a contract. Let me give you a couple examples here. The Lakers signed Rui for 1 year less, 3 years, almost the same total, $51 million. I think there's a lot more risk in Rui's contract than I think there is in Austin Reaves. I got more faith that Austin Reaves is going to continue to kind of build on what he's building because I feel like he's done it for a longer time. Rui had a really good playoff run, but it's not like Rui for one straight year. You've watched him as a Los Angeles Laker and said, yeah, that dude, I know exactly what he's going to bring night in and night out. And I feel like that's the case for Austin Reaves. So anyways, let me go back here real quick. I remember when we were sitting back and we're saying, okay, are the Houston Rockets going to make a $80 million offer? Are the San Antonio Spurs going to make a $90 million offer? Can he potentially get $100 million in free agency? So that was the chatter going to free agency. And then the news drops. It's like, what the hell? We got Austin Reaves for $54 million. I really believe this when I say it. I think it's one of the best contracts in the NBA, period. 4 years, $54 million. The guy plays defense. The guy's a competitor. The guy can create for himself. He's unselfish, right? Locker room guy. There really aren't that many holes in Austin Reaves' game. Okay. With all that in mind, Jovan Buha of The Athletic was talking specifically. I think this is one of the pieces that he wrote in The Athletic. Jovan does a great job. I'm going to read a quote here of his thought process on the San Antonio Spurs and what the game plan was from the Spurs and ultimately what ended up resulting. So he puts in his piece, the Spurs, fresh off having drafted number 1 pick Victor Wembanyama, considered 2 offers for Austin Reaves, according to multiple league sources not authorized to speak publicly. One of the offers, Spurs offering, they were thinking about 2 different offers. The first offer one for the maximum amount of dollars in years, approximately 4 years, $100 million, and a smaller, shorter structure, 3 years, $60 million. In both cases, if the Lakers match the offer, Reaves' salary would have ballooned for Los Angeles in the third and or fourth year due to the rule informally known as the arena's provision. Ultimately, LA's insistence that it would match any offer sheet Reaves signed scared off the Spurs and all other potential cap space suitors. Let me tell you what I thought was going to happen. I thought 100% it didn't matter that even if the Lakers were saying we're going to match any offer, I thought there was going to be a team out there. A team like the San Antonio Spurs is a good example where I don't think they were too concerned if they were going to go out and sign. It was worth the risk. Let's put it that way. Okay, maybe the Lakers aren't bluffing, but it's worth the risk. And maybe we could screw the Lakers in the process because now they got to pay such a higher contract for Austin Reaves in that third and fourth year that could have some effect in the Western Conference. That maybe if you're thinking about the Spurs a couple years from now, when Victor Wembanyama and Greg Popovich and they're continuing to build around him, where they could be in a couple years from now. I thought 100% that there was going to be a team out there that was going to offer that type of a deal, and it never happened. It was one of the more surprising things that happened to me, or that happened, I thought, in the offseason around the Lakers. Think about this. 4 years, $100 million is $25 million a year. 3 years, $60 million is $20 million a year. The fact that the San Antonio Spurs were potentially willing and thinking about offering that much money for Austin Reaves, I think the only surprise is that they didn't. And that Austin Reaves is a Los Angeles Laker for the next 4 years, making $13.5 million over the next 4 years. That to me was the surprise. Not that, if the San Antonio Spurs offered the 4 years 100, that wouldn't have surprised me. The 3 years 60, that wouldn't have surprised me if Houston would have come in. I think Houston decided they were going to take their money and give it to Dillon Brooks, the 4 years 80. I think that's what he got, 4 years 80, something like that. I know he got 80 million. I'm not sure exact amount of years. I'm much more surprised that an offer was not made. And if you watch right now Austin Reaves in these FIBA World Cup preliminaries, listen, I'm not trying to make a case here that I understand it's international play, it's FIBA and everything else, but I think a lot of people are looking at Austin Reaves and saying, damn, this guy belongs as much as anybody else on this team. And there's Tyrese Halliburton, and there's Brandon Ingram, and there's good players on that team, Jalen Brunson. And here's Austin Reaves, at least in the last game that they had. These are just the preliminaries. Had 16 points off the bench, is an impact player. And I think it's very, very clear that Austin Reaves is the third best player on this Los Angeles Lakers team. It's LeBron, it's Anthony Davis, and it's Austin Reaves. Hell, when they released the schedule late last week, I don't know if you guys saw this or not. I think it was a tweet that I saw, but I think it was an article as well on Lakers.com. It's a artwork, basically. It's LeBron in the center, it's Anthony Davis to the left, and it's Austin Reaves to the right. They got those three players on the front. I think that says something about Austin Reaves' value. So I don't know if the San Antonio Spurs are kicking themselves right now. Maybe they don't give a you-know-what, and maybe they just genuinely thought no matter what we did, it didn't matter, that the Los Angeles Lakers were just going to match the offer, and that's that. But I'm still surprised that this was one of those things where nothing happened, that the Lakers were able to get him for just $13.5 million. I mean, Rui's making more than Austin Reaves. D'Angelo Russell is making more than Austin Reaves if you're looking at per year. Now, they don't have as many years as Austin Reaves does, but if you told me, hey, do you want D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura, or Austin Reaves? And I know this isn't a pick one or the other. Lakers obviously have all three of them. I'm taking Austin Reaves. And his contract just continues to show how much value he has in that contract. And, oh, by the way, he's doing a great job in FIBA. And I think he's getting more and more of an opportunity to show his skill set, what he does outside of playing with LeBron and Anthony Davis. And even though he's already shown what he can do on there. I thought there was a kind of a funny tweet out there that came out a couple days ago. Bill Simmons of The Ringer put out a tweet. This is like a somebody that is as Boston Celtics as they come, a huge NBA fan. I always have enjoyed his work, but he puts out a tweet. He says, San Antonio not maxing Reaves gets dumber every week. This was during one of the USA FIBA games. Congrats on saving that cap space for Seti Osman and Cam Payne. I think what he's saying right there is look at the fact that you didn't take the chance and the risk of potentially getting Austin Reaves and just letting it die and giving yourself no opportunity by offering him something. And I think there's some value in offering him something anyways, because like I said, you're going to force the Lakers to have to pay more money for Austin Reaves. Was a little bit of a surprise to me. So Reaves having a great offseason, Reaves shining, and this story coming out. I'm sure Austin Reaves is like, damn, San Antonio, why didn't you offer me that 60 or that 80 or that 100 million? I was still going to sign with the Lakers, but at least I could have got more money out of it. But that was obviously clearly nothing that he could control. So Austin Reaves, a nice little summer so far for him, and I think continuing to show his value. Okay, got another topic that I want to get into. We have spent so much time on what's the latest on the bigs for the Los Angeles Lakers. What's the latest on that 14th roster spot? So earlier this week, I saw an article out there, which is actually kind of funny. But I saw an article that was out there. Let me find the article here real quick. There's a player that has young guy. And I'm going to get into the details of who he is. And I'm not going to pretend like I know everything about him because I do not. It's a young player that has played for the Houston Rockets over the last 2 years. He's, I want to say 20, maybe 21 years old, something along those lines. Played 75 games for the Houston Rockets last year. Kind of an undersized big man, you can call it. He's a power forward / center, an international player. Played 75 games, like I said, last year, had 3 points, 4 rebounds was his average. And you kind of look at that and say, okay, well, what does that have to do with the Los Angeles Lakers? There was an article that came out, and this one I'm going to read on Fansided came out, but everybody kind of came out with one. Lakers Nation had something around. I know Trevor Lane did a piece on this as well. Lakers now have the perfect center to sign thanks to the Oklahoma City Thunder. So, Usman Garuba, who played 2 years so far for the Houston Rockets, played 2 years for the Houston Rockets, was part of a trade to the Oklahoma City Thunder in the offseason. And I'm learning a little bit about him as well, but was part of a trade. The Oklahoma City Thunder, it was kind of known that they were going to potentially release this guy because they already have so many big men. They have already so many players in the front court. They don't need them. You can only hold 15 roster spots. They were over 15. So we saw the news a couple days ago that the Thunder have waived forward Usman Garuba, if I pronounce that right. Hopefully I pronounced it right. Usman Garuba. And I start looking. I'm like, all right, well, a lot of people are saying this might be a good fit for the Los Angeles Lakers. Let's look a little bit into him. He was the 23rd overall pick in 2021. He formerly played for Real Madrid. At least this was some of the stuff that I was reading on him. He's only 21 years old, undersized big man. I'm going to read something here from the article that I was looking at. He shot over 40% from 3 last season, even though it's a small sample size, they said. Also showcased his ability to space the floor with Real Madrid. And they also said that he's got a lot of defensive potential. So right out the gate there, this has become a story. Hey, should the Lakers go after this player that the Oklahoma City Thunder have dropped? Can he be a real asset to the Los Angeles Lakers? Usman Garuba. That's how you pronounce his name there. So I looked at it, and I think for me, it's funny because if you just put his name into Google, I'm going to read to you a couple of the articles that come up. One of them was for the Lakers. Hey, it could be a perfect fit. Another one is perfect two-way center becomes available for the Golden State Warriors. Another one is Washington Wizards should sign this recently waived big man. So I don't know if there's a specific angle to the Los Angeles Lakers. I do know it looks like there are multiple teams that can use a player like this. So it's not like there's a path that's guaranteeing the Los Angeles. He's going to come to the Los Angeles Lakers. Here's another one. The Mavericks should go after Usman. I mean, literally, that's three teams right there off one search, aside from the Los Angeles Lakers, of different articles out there saying, hey, our team should target this guy. We'll see what happens. If the Lakers feel like, hey, this is the right big man, this is the right guy, this is the 14th roster spot. I think the Christian Wood thing, it's clear what's happening there. They're waiting to see, or he's waiting to see what happens with Damian Lillard and the Portland Trailblazers. Will Christian Wood get an opportunity to be in Miami? I think that's the dilemma there. But if this is the right guy and the Lakers think that they can, pitch him on coming in, okay. One of the things I think the Lakers have done, and it's always been a good pitch for the Lakers, is come get your exposure over here. Did you look at the schedule that just came out? The Lakers have 40 nationally televised games this upcoming season. I mean, where else are you going to get the marketability where you could potentially be a player? They have a track record. They could say, look at guys like Malik Monk, look at guys like Dennis Schroeder, look at guys. They have a track record of saying, when you come to the Los Angeles Lakers, we can put you on the map. It's up to you to perform and to make it happen. But if you do perform, you can probably get a nice contract somewhere else down the road. And it also looks like he would get opportunities with the Lakers. So I thought that was interesting right there. And still the question mark of what the Lakers do with a potential big man is still up in the air. By the way, of any of the topics that I put out so far, so whether it's on the stuff about Austin Reaves and any thoughts that you have, feel free to put it in the comments. If it's anything on Usman, the big man that I'm talking about, if you think, hey, it's worth taking a risk on this guy, do everything you can to go get him, or no, just be patient and wait, see what happens with Dame and Christian Wood and what eventually happens in that situation, you could put it on the comments below. I got one more thing I want to get into. I'm going to just do this as a quick reminder. Please subscribe to the channel. I genuinely love doing content on YouTube. I really, really do. And if I had more time on my hands, obviously I do a ton of stuff on radio as well. I would put more content on YouTube, but I try to go out of my way. This is my personal channel, and all I'm asking for, if you could subscribe, it would mean the world to me. Okay. We have probably a wide array of different people that are on this channel age-wise. Okay. I know we got a lot of people from all over the world. Of course, a lot here in Southern California and California in the States, but there's also a lot of Laker fans that are worldwide. And you guys know every time I do roll call, we can see that. However old you are, whether you're a fan of the Lakers since the Showtime era, or whether you're a fan of the Lakers with Nick Van Exel and Eddie Jones and Cedric Ceballos, or it's the Shaq and Kobe days, or it's the post-Shaq days where it's Kobe and trying to think of some guys off the top of my head here. It's the Sasha years you got, and I was kind of trying to think before Powell came, but anyways, long story short, whatever era of Lakers basketball that you're in, my favorite era of Lakers basketball was the Shaq and Kobe days. That was when I was in my, I was a teenager. It was the first championship I got to experience as a Laker fan because I wasn't watching or just was too young to be around for the Showtime era. So the Shaq and Kobe days has a special place in my heart. They had some battles, man. They had some battles, and it was always fun. And whether it was the first year that they got past, I was thinking about Kwame Brown, Smush Parker. I was trying to think of some other guys before the Powell era came in. Of course, Lamar Odom, Andrew Bynum, all that stuff. But they had some incredible battles against just great Western Conference teams. I remember the first time Shaq and Kobe won, they had to get through the Portland Trailblazers, Game 7. Everybody knows the iconic highlight of Kobe crossing over Scottie Pippen, throwing up the lob to Shaq. Lakers end up winning the series. They go on to beat the Indiana Pacers, and they win their first championship together. Shaq gets his first Finals MVP, one of 3 Finals MVPs that he gets, and Kobe and Shaq get their first one together. In 2002, if it wasn't the Portland Trailblazers, it was the Sacramento Kings certainly the San Antonio Spurs you can put in this conversation as well. There were some teams that it just kind of depended. Whoever gets out of the West is going to go win the NBA championship. The Western Conference was the NBA Finals, the Western Conference Championship. And if everybody remembers the battle that the Lakers had with the Sacramento Kings, I want to say it was 2002. Mike Bibby, Vlade Divac, Hedo Turkoglu, Chris Webber, Peja Stojakovic, Bobby Jackson. They had a squad. They had a really, really good team. And it took some heroics from Robert Horry III. I mean, there were a lot of times that it felt like that series was going to go the Sacramento Kings' way. Lakers end up winning Game 7 in Sacramento. At the time was called Arco Arena. And Mike Bibby, who was a key player for the Sacramento Kings during that time, was on the Knuckleheads podcast with Quentin Richardson and Darius Miles, a couple former NBA players. I want to read one of the quotes that he had there, okay? He said it was a championship that we should have got out of that because we go to Game 7. So he's talking about Game 7. He's talking about the series against the Lakers in 2002. It was a championship that we should have got. Go to Game 7. We shot 2 for 13 from 3 and under 50% from the free throw line, and the game goes into overtime. I know we were a better team that season. Maybe the years before or years after, maybe not. But that year, we were the best team, I think, in the league all the way around. He goes on to talk about the series, what a fun series it was, how competitive it was, playing in LA, the whole thing. I get so confused when I read this because I think it's safe to say what's going to make one team a better team than the other, a lot of it's going to come down to when there's the most pressure. The Lakers with Shaq and Kobe and Brian Shaw and, go look at those Derek Fisher and Rick Fox. I think they started creating this. Hey, we just find ways to win. We just find ways to win. And it's so difficult for other teams who have not won an NBA championship or have not got over the hump to mentally get past that hurdle and that block like, hey, we can do this. By the way, Lakers 96 to 2000 or 96 to 99, they didn't win a championship. There was 4 years with Kobe and Shaq. Kobe was incredibly young. Where they failed until Phil Jackson came is when they got over the hump. But I find it very odd, Mike Bibby's quote here. You can't say I thought we were a better team that season if only we didn't shoot 2 of 13 in Game 7. If only we didn't shoot under 50% from the free throw line in that Game 7. Those clutch moments count. Those clutch moments are the difference of you being the better team or not. So we were doing this on radio earlier today, and John Ireland, who's the Lakers play-by-play broadcaster, I do the show with Travis Rogers, and we're all kind of talking about it. It's like, somebody explain to me this quote. How can you say we were the better team? We just choked in Game 7. Isn't Game 7 what would indicate whether you're a better team or not? If you guys remember, if you're old enough to remember, Peja Stojakovic, which was one of the best three-point shooters in the NBA at that time. The game's in regulation, and Peja had a shot in the corner by himself. The Lakers' defense rotation, whatever, it screwed up, left Peja wide open for 3 in the corner. The dude airballed, and he shot the ball, I'm not kidding, 3 feet to the right. Go back and see the highlights of that play, and they ended up losing the Lakers in overtime. You're not a better team if you choke in OT. You're not a better team if you choke in Game 7. What makes you a better team is that instead of going 2 for 13 from 3 in Game 7, that you went 6 for 13. What makes you a better team is that you didn't shoot under 50%. You shot 80% from the free throw line in Game 7. That's what makes you a better team. I have a very difficult time trying to understand that quote there from Mike Bibby, who, listen, Mike Bibby was a baller. Mike Bibby was really, really good basketball player for the Sacramento Kings. I'm sure a lot of Kings fans absolutely love that guy, but can we stop pretending that you were a better team if you didn't actually win the game and that you collapsed in Game 7 at home? That's a tough argument to make that you were the better team if those things don't all line together. Okay, Laker fans, NBA fans, that's all I got for today's episode. Want to get that out. I was trying to think of what different topics that were out there that I thought were interesting. This one caught my attention. the Spurs on Austin Reaves, that story, a potential new big for the Los Angeles Lakers, and Mike Bibby talking about the Lakers and the Kings back in 2002. Please subscribe to the channel. Get back with you guys soon. Thank you very much for being a part of the show. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Thanks, Laker fans.